Zack Snyder's Star Wars inspired movie, Rebel Moon. Now,
Yeah.
this has been a long time coming, and Zach has teased this quite a few times now. And alternatively, in a totally unrelated news, he just kept teasing that there's a big project with Netflix coming up. So people were just wondering if those two are the same thing, right? And of
Yeah.
course, it was. So his Kurosawa and Star Wars inspired project is finally announced by Netflix and Zack Snyder, and is going to be with Netflix, yet another project with Netflix. I wonder why that is, Sean.
Hmm. Would it be creative freedom?
So, yeah, well, I'll just read you this article from the Hollywood Reporter. It says Snyder has set his next project, an epic sci-fi fantasy titled Rebel Moon, that he is co-writing and will direct and produce for Netflix. The story is set in motion when a peaceful colony on the edge of the galaxy is threatened by armies of a tyrannical regent named Belisarius. Desperate people dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them make a stand. Now, I wonder why this sounds familiar, Sean.
Yeah,
We'll
it
touch
does.
on
It
that.
does. Okay.
Yeah, this is me growing up as an Akira Kurosawa fan, a Star Wars fan, Snyder tells the Hollywood Reporter. It's my love for sci-fi and a giant adventure. My hope is that this also becomes a massive IP and a universe that can be built out. Rebel finds its the germs of its origins in a Star Wars pitch the filmmaker had developed a decade ago. It was a more mature take on the universe created by George Lucas and didn't move beyond any meaningful conversations after the Walt Disney Company acquired Lucasfilm in 2012. I've spent the last 2 or 3 years building out this universe. Every corner has to be painted in. I've been doing designs, constantly drawing, and really cultivating its fertile ground to make this world fully realized. Now, that's a very interesting bit of information about this, which we had none of, a few days ago. And finally, even the title is announced. So, firstly, my excitement level for this movie is especially through the roof because my favorite genre in movies is sci-fi. And in sci-fi, my favorite thing is space, right? So a space sci-fi adventure movie with Zack Snyder is my dream project, which I wanted for years. And I wanted Zack Snyder to actually work with Star Wars, and do a Elseworld movie or, something standalone that he would think, would be a good movie. He said he had a Yoda movie planned way before, and then this pitch was actually going to be a Star Wars pitch, and it was basically before, like mentioned, it was before Disney bought Lucasfilm, right? So we see some of the concept art and some of the mysterious woman with the mysterious past stuff in the sequels. So I wonder if that was the idea that he gave the studios and they went with it. And I wonder if JJ was brought on just to follow through on Zach's idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's, solely his idea or it's just a, combination of his idea with the studios, ideas in there. So that's also interesting. But we definitely saw a lot of what's written here in the new movies. So it's not outrageous to assume that they could probably be inspired by his pitch.
Yeah. And look, this is going to be huge for Netflix. Like, this is a sci-fi. It seems like an epic. It looks like Zack Snyder has plans for more than one movie, like he always does. He always is expanding his world, and it's crazy. Like the Army of the Dead universe had one movie. There's an animated prequel. We'll probably get an Army of the Dead 2. There's Army of the Thieves. That world is slowly building. And over here you have a sci-fi, um, Star Wars inspired Samurai 7 or Seven Samurai inspired movie. It reminded me of that because recruiting different heroes and getting them together. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to go. I can't wait for the casting. Of course, the cast is going to be huge for this, and he might go for maybe some more well-known actors for this one because of this sci-fi element to it. And if Netflix could get their own Star Wars, now that's pretty big, and Zack Snyder behind it. I don't see Zack Snyder working with too many other studios for the future. For the time being, I see him working with Netflix, and because they're letting him do what he wants. They're giving him unlimited budget. They're giving him freedom, and the template that Netflix has in terms of its worldwide exposure is insane. So, Rebel Moon sounds really interesting.
Even the
I think it's
name
gonna
is
have a
so Star
badass,
Wars.
yeah, yeah, and I got badass female lead as well. I bet. So I can't wait till the casting announcements start for this. And look, I just don't see Zack Snyder working with anyone else right now for the next 5 years, maybe, because he has Army of the Dead mapped out, the universe there, now Rebel Moon. Plus, he's going to be doing Horse Latitudes. He's a busy guy, and this is good. This is good for us fans because we're getting so much Zack Snyder content right now, and it's not just comic book
Original
movies.
too.
So it's zombies original. So yeah, I think he's had his comic book movies kind of days. He'll probably go back to them in the future. But he also has the zombie world right now, and he has the space sci-fi world. So yeah, I'm all for it. Let's go because he is a very talented director, and it's interesting to see him take these different approaches. And look, we're basically getting a Star Wars movie that won't be ran by executives.
Yeah.
They won't hold him down. I think if he ever made a Star Wars movie, it would have had a lot of executive input, stuff like that, because those are a brand, those are worldwide. They have to sell toys, they have to do stuff like that. With Netflix, I think he'll be allowed to do his own thing, which is better. So we'll get probably a better Star Wars movie than Zack Snyder would have made if it was called Star Wars under Lucasfilm. So that's good.
Yeah. I also wonder if this, like in 10 or 15 years, would be as considered as big as, Star Trek or Star Wars, or, at least on that level, the quality of films or storytelling that's going on.
Yeah,
Because we have no idea what this is right now, right? We just know that it features a woman with a mysterious past. That's all we know. And obviously, he said that he's gonna build a universe with this, right? And when a movie is on the scale of a galaxy, galactic scale, you obviously have a lot of story to tell, right? And of course, this movie is gonna have sequels and spin-offs too, right? And I wonder
yeah,
if he will have directors like David Ayer or Matthias again, or someone else directing the spin-offs while he creates the main trilogy, or whatever. So that's very fascinating to watch, and I wonder if 10 years from now we look back at this video and we just cherish this moment when it was beginning. And I just hope that 10 years older me is very happy with that universe, and it's a successful and well established universe by then.
yeah.
But yeah, like you said, the superhero stuff, I think that's I already thought that that was not gonna happen for a significant, amount of years, because now the execs don't want anything to do with Snyder, and that's he was never gonna go back until they changed, or until a different set of execs came in. And that was very clear to
Yeah.
me. And I already embraced that, because on the other hand, I'm getting all this original Zack Snyder material, which is awesome. And although I would love to see what he was gonna do with the Snyderverse, I'm equally excited for this because even this is just a huge scale universe that he's building, which he'll have full control over, and the story, the elements. He can basically bring in swords, lightsabers, guns, violence, R-rated material. He can literally create a dinosaur, a space dinosaur, whatever he wants. And that's just amazing. And that's just amazing. And he also said that this pitch was going to be a mature take on Star Wars. So it could be a mix of Mandalorian, R-rated Mandalorian type thing, and even more than that. So I'm really, really hyped for it.
Yeah, and like we all want the Snyderverse to get restored, but look, realistically, the Justice League 2 is not going to happen for 5 years
Yeah.
because of all the projects that he has on the pipeline. Now,
Plus the merger is happening, so who knows what
yeah,
happens with that.
so I think the best way forward is Zack Snyder to kill them with success. You know, if Army of the Dead continues to be a huge hit, if Rebel Moon and the movies after that continue to be a huge hit, and the merger happens at Warner Brothers, and 2, 3 years from now you have David Zaslav or some of the executives, and they're saying, "Well, Zack Snyder's doing pretty well over at Netflix. How do we ever let that guy go? You know, is there a deal we can work where he comes back and does Justice League 2? You know, because if he's killing it at Netflix, like they'll be looking at themselves thinking he used to be a Warner Brothers guy and we let him go.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe what could happen, and they could approach Zach in maybe 2, 3 years from now, or even a year from now, or 2 years, and say, "Hey, what's the chances of you coming back?" And Zach will be like, "Look, I have to do this and this. Maybe in 2 years from now, I can come back and do a Justice League or some sort of movie for you guys." I think that could be the possibility if the executives have changed at Warner Brothers and if they have the mindset that Netflix have. But then again, I think Zack Snyder's living in the best world possible right now because these Netflix executives are giving them money and giving them freedom, and it's a good working environment. So why would he ever want to leave that?
Yeah.
And I think you would have to see from a good example from Warner Brothers that they've changed, and maybe some of his friends that are filmmakers there have experienced a better side of Warner Brothers executives for him to ever go back. We'll have to see how that weighs, but Netflix are very much happy with this man, and I would say that he's probably the biggest director that they have right now under
Yeah.
contract. Maybe,
Yes.
probably. You know,
Until
Scorsese did well with The Irishman, but he jumped over to
Apple.
Apple
Yeah,
Plus.
you're right.
So
Until Nolan comes in, Zach is the biggest one right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Nolan hears how good Netflix is as a studio to work with, and they're able to strike some deal with Nolan saying, "Look, Chris, we'll give you a full theatrical run." And Christopher
Exactly.
Nolan's like, "Serious? You serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, we'll give you a full theatrical run, and after that, the movie can drop on Netflix." I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, his biggest thing with stream, he doesn't hate streaming services. His biggest thing is that he wants the movies to debut in theaters. And Netflix gave that to Zack Snyder with 1 week release. Who's to say that they won't do the same for Nolan? And, they obviously experimented with it and they liked it. And they said that in the future they're going to continue this, right? So
Yeah,
with Nolan, I think it will probably be more like a 15-day sweet spot type of thing that they need to figure out before that happens. But I'm pretty sure they're trying. Obviously, these studios are waiting for every opportunity to get the big name directors. WB was waiting for James Gunn. As soon as he was fired. They brought him on. That was a good move. And then obviously Nolan was upset with Warner Brothers, so Netflix probably, Scott Streeter probably right that minute he probably called Nolan and was like, "Hey, we are here if you need anything."
yeah.
And
But
that's great.
also, like Netflix makes so much money and they have so much subscribers. I bet you it wouldn't kill them to have one movie, Christopher Nolan's movie, to have a full theatrical run
Yeah,
and then put it on Netflix. It wouldn't kill them, I don't think. I think
yeah.
them obtaining Christopher Nolan would be the big thing. So, look,
Nolan is a guaranteed money maker for
yeah,
any studio.
yeah. Look, Tenant, I don't care what people said. Tenant made what, 350 million,
Yeah,
380 during a pandemic that was at its highest, kind of, it was in a bad position, and he still made that money at theaters. I don't think people give him enough credit for that. That's an unbelievable achievement. Especially you see Fast and Furious just cross over 500 million. He did that. What he did that nearly. 8 9 months ago, Christopher Nolan. So yeah, I just don't think we give him enough credit. And imagine what it would have done if it came out now or in 6 months from now. He could have kept theaters alive that time for them to be alive now. So
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting, definitely, to see how that develops because I'm really excited for all that stuff. How streaming services are growing now and how they're competing with each other. So all that stuff is very fascinating to me because we've never seen anything like this before, and now it's happening right before our eyes, and we're literally witnessing our transition into the future of how movies and TV shows are going to be made. So that's pretty
yeah,
good stuff.